Why are we here today? Is it just to do your weekly duty? Is it because, turn me down just a little bit, it's too hot. Is it because you want to learn more? I told Rick that for some reason this morning, the only word that I could describe to him is I feel broke. People don't get it, don't want to get it, or don't care to get it. I want to talk to you about legacy and what we're going to leave the future. I happened to get up very, very early this morning, and I happened to turn on YouTube, and there was a video on there that was doing nostalgic type of videos. A man was talking, and he was talking about back in the day whenever we was younger and the world wasn't so twisted. It wasn't so messed up. You know, the type of time when you sat in the back of a pickup truck and you went to town. Nobody worried about the kids falling out of them. Nobody concerned themselves about whether the kids are out on bicycles and going down the road to go play. The reason I ask you why we're here this morning is, what do you want to leave? We know time is coming. There is a lot of people, and I say this in a manner of being very, very easy in how I say this. But there's too many people believing that before it's all over and done with, that a civil war has to come around to straighten things back up. Ain't nobody wants a war back in the United States. Ain't nobody wants this. But you've got people saying this because of what they're seeing. I want to read you something, and then I'm going to get into the message. And I ask you just kind of sit there and listen. Go along with me. Because I was thinking about my boys, thinking about my daughters to be, my granddaughter. I want to read this to you. Your money will never tell you I love you. Your money will never say glad you're home. Your money will never say I miss you. Your money will never grieve for you. Your money will never ask you over to the families for dinner. Your money will never take pictures at Christmas of you. Your money will never hug you. Your money will never come see you in the hospital. Your money will never cry for you. And your money would never give its life for you. You say, well, what's that got to do with what you're going to talk about? It's about leaving legacy. You know, whenever people think about leaving something and leaving something for the next generation, there has to be something to be left. I can honestly say that when my time comes and I'm out of here, the legacy that I want to leave for my children and my grandchildren is the memories that they had together, the memories that we've had as family, the memories of a legacy. Something that can never be taken from you is a memory. Everything else in this world can be taken from you. Whether the government takes it from you, whether somebody steals it, whether something happens, whether a flood, that we just had. I actually prayed, Father, help these people. People lost businesses. People lost homes. People lost family members. So your legacy. So what are you trying to leave behind when you pass from this life to the next? Greg mentioned something the other day, and I wrote it down and I quoted him. He said some people in some churches are fighting upstream during a flood. Our culture through the church, our children being taught things in the schools, our society and media showing what they, being the system, and I added to this, but Gregory said the first part of it, what they, being the system, want you to know. That's what's happened. Social media, computers, television, corruption. You know, what happened to the time where it was the church is where people came to for the politics? Keeping right and wrong where it belongs. But because there was a few people who didn't like that idea, now there is the separation of church and state. And because of the separation of church and state, now everything is haywire. Our schools, some people will swallow hook, line, and sinker from whatever the government tells them. So I'll ask you again, are you leaving your family, your children, a heritage? Are you leaving them a biblical way of living? See, my legacy before the legacy that I was leaving my children was a drunk. But because of Christ, because of the love of Christ, I knew right from wrong. I just didn't do it. But because of the love of Christ, now I can leave a heritage to my grandchildren from the teachings that my sons have gotten. It'll be up to them whether they move forward with it and they stay with it and they stick with what it takes to be a Christian. Being a Christian is not easy. It's one of the toughest things that I have ever done. You got a world around you telling you things, doing things, showing you things, but yet you have to restrain yourself because that's what the Lord asked you to do. So I'm asking you, you're here this morning. What's your purpose? What's your reasoning? What's your life all about? What thoughts, what memories, what legacy will you leave a new generation? There's scare tactics. The government wants people to be afraid of things. There's things happening all across America, all across the world. Are you showing your children morals? Are you showing them that it takes work and diligence? Or have you showed them the opposite of all of this? If you don't tell them the truth now, the government babysitters will. If you don't teach your children at home, because when they start school, they spend more time in the schools than they do at your house. And if you don't teach them the truth and you don't teach them the facts and you don't show them what the Bible says and you don't read to your children out of the Bible, when they get into the schools, the government is going to change them how they want them. See, things ain't being told anymore. Because everybody's afraid, well, I'll lose my channel. I don't have a channel to lose, so I don't care. There's not enough standing up in the churches. There's not enough people saying, enough is enough. Things are very, very twisted. The government babysitters will warp the minds of the children to destroy family units. Because the media is government pushed to control the minds of the people. In Matthew 6:20 through 21, it says, "But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal." 22 says, "For where your treasures is, there your heart will be also. I'm going to jump here real quick to Proverbs. I'm going to read out of Proverbs 13. It's 13 through 21. And I want you to listen. He who despises the word will be destroyed, but he who fears the commandment will be rewarded. The law of the wise is a fountain of life to turn one away from the snares of death. Good understanding gains favor, but the way of the unfaithful is hard. Every prudent man acts with knowledge, but a fool lays open his folly. A wicked messenger falls into trouble, but a faithful ambassador brings health. Poverty and shame will come to him who disdains correction. But he who regards a rebuke will be honored. A desire accomplished is sweet to the soul, but it is an abomination to fools to depart from evil. He who walks with the wise men will be wise, but the companion of fools will be destroyed. Evil pursues sinners, but to the righteous good shall be repaid. A good man, this is 22, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. And we've heard that so much. So let me go here to this. So what was your point of getting married? All of us who are in here are married at one time or another. I want you to think back at the very beginning and ask yourself, what was the point of getting married? At that point in time, it was because of love. And hopefully it wasn't just convenience or someone to take care of you. And hopefully it wasn't just to make another little you. Because no one lives forever. So the question I'll ask you today is, what are you doing? Because doing it your way isn't usually the right way. That's why God gave us the Bible. A guide for our life. But that guide doesn't work if you don't read it, if you don't know it, if you don't study it, if you don't understand it. And a lot of times it's because we only want it our way. That's why we never study or look into this. Because this guides us and tells us the truth and the way. I've heard this. Truth is how you see it. No, wrong. The truth is you don't live forever. The truth is male and female is female. The truth is a man cannot be pregnant. The truth is just because you say you're a dog doesn't mean you're a dog. I can say I'm a 69 Camaro, but as you look at me, you can see I'm not a 69 Camaro. That's truth. It's time to open our mouths and get reality back. We need to get it back to what it means. We need to quit being silly. Mankind needs to quit acting stupid. We've allowed demons to come and take truth away from the reality and allowed the people of the church to be quieted just because of a weak-spined Christian. A weak-spined Christian people. I'm going to ask you one question and I'm going to close with this. If you knew you wouldn't wake up tomorrow, would you be happy, or I'll do it this way, proud of what your life has been? If not, then you need to get yourself square. You need to get yourself right with God. It doesn't take a long sermon to talk truth. This morning, I told you, I feel broken. I feel hurt. Not hurt in the physical, hurt in the spiritual. There comes a time when people have to stand up for what's right. Our children is what is right. How do you want your children brought up? When your children look at you, Can you look at them and say, I've done everything right? I can't. But I can say this: I've done the best that I could to teach them morals and teach them correctly. We have grandchildren coming around, and I hope that I get the chance to be able to teach them biblical principles